Welcome to another edition of Social Media News Live. I am so excited that you're here. I love this time of year with Christmas and the holidays and Thanksgiving and just and it is the time to buy. I don't know, Connor, did you clean up any on your Black Friday deals? Did you do a lot of?
I did. I got some gifts for some family members. I got some gifts for me. Our good friend Paul Gowder, who's a Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
fan. I got some Roosevelts here. It's can't barely see it, but it's the aliens and the claw from Toy Story on this bullet.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I got a few of those. But what about you? What deals you got?
So I usually get all my Christmas presents set up for that, and my thing was I'm also doing over the holidays. I said I was going to do this. I'm building my own PC. I've always wanted to do it. And so I got a lot of the components that were on sale doing this. I'm building. I don't need one. I've always wanted to do it, and so that's what I'm doing. So
I did pick up something fun for myself. I got the Ray-Ban Metas. I think that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I hit purchase, and it'll say, "Great, it'll be here January 4th." I'm like, "That's not. I didn't think. I thought we were gonna get it before."
Yeah, that kind of stinks. Billy, did you clean up anything? I mean, you're a seller, but did you clean up on Black Friday?
No, man, I don't think so. I think my son and my wife did. So he's big into shopping. He's 6, So
yeah,
I think a bunch of plushies at Walmart, things like that.
Legos
he cleaned up.
So
yeah,
we've got our friends already showing up. Chris Stone saying, "Hello, beautiful people of planet Earth." Hey, Chris, thank you for showing up today. Why isn't my comment? There they are. Good night. Look how big those are. This is why we do this before the show starts. Good gravy. What happened with going on with these? I know, it's very embarrassing. Connor was in here playing around, I think, and janked things up. It's really slow right now today, too. So let me see. My friend Jim Fuse is saying, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Jim, as well. So we're trying to get all this set up. So that looks good. All right. So, and then Chris says, shout out to Connor, extending the no shave November into December. You'll catch Jeff's beard in no time. That's true. I think if you put your mind to it.
No way that will ever happen. But thank you, Chris, for the optimism.
And Rich Watts is in the house saying, happy Friday, gentlemen. So happy to finally be stationary on a Friday so we can tune in. Well, I am so glad, Rich. I know it's, I think it's like he's a PR for dirt racing. And so I think this is kind of his off time. So very, very cool to see Rich in the house. Well, we're going to get started. I'm going to go on the podcast machine. And I got really quickly something I want to share with you guys. I think you guys are going to find really fun. So let me hit go and we will get started. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Connor Brown, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media and more.
And today I've got something special I want to shoot to you guys. Before we get started, I have put together a free download for the holidays. So I wanted to pop this up. Hopefully I'll be show you. This is, I'm a big fan of Midjourney. That's what I use to create our graphics for the show. I'm going to be talking about it a lot next year. And one of the cool things is they have these codes that you can put on the end of your prompts to actually give it a style. It's like a cheat code for styles. And I've put together this awesome kind of collection of cheat codes for you guys. This is my Midjourney holiday SREF codes, and this is free. You can get it over at jeffc.com/holiday-codes. That's jeffc.com/holiday-codes. And what it is it tells you how to use it at the very, very top. But it's this database of all these different images that have the codes to them right at the top. So let's say we wanted to look at this Victorian golden hue, and I used the same prompt for each one of those, like 4 different prompts that I've used, and I'll go ahead and pop this up, and it kind of gives you a breakdown and tags of the different styles, but also it gives you the actual examples of them, and you can actually scroll through them just like this. You can see there's Santa, we've got a Christmas tree, we've got a snowman, and then what I've also done
on that snowman.
I was pretty awesome. Right. Yeah, just like me. And this one is actually like a mood board. I've given you an example of like if you wanted a mood board and kind of see a bunch of different styles. So that's just one of them. We've got so many inside of here. I'll go back and show you some other ones. We've got some really cool, like I really like this hand-drawn one here that you can see. But that code right there, that SREF, and then those numbers, you just put that at the end of your prompt, any prompt, and it will give this style to your images. So just some really cool, and one of my favorite ones is kind of a Wes Anderson like one.
That's
It kind of
awesome.
has some muted colors that you can kind of see there. So yeah, so go to jeffc.com/holiday codes and you can get your own. It's totally free. Just sign up and you'll be able to check those out. So anyway, thought that was kind of cool. I'll put that together. Connor, do you use Midjourney at all? You've played
I
with
used
it.
it a little bit, but I'm definitely going to sign up for this. And did you use some of these hex codes for that photo that you posted, Jeff, where you're driving the old car and you had the donuts? And I also want to know, does it just automatically add in donuts anytime it's
No,
you?
it's not. No, it should, because that is me. But no, it's actually, that was just a prompt that I did with this of me, and then I did a face swap. But yeah, there's a ton of different ones in there. You can make. I've tried to include as many different styles as you can. So it's very cool. I love Midjourney, especially for this reason with those style codes. So jeffc.com/codes. Check that out. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for our friend Billy Thorpe, and we're going to be talking about monetization strategy, especially because Billy has thought outside of the box. So here's kind of the intro. If you've ever wondered what it takes to grow a thriving business from scratch, even without a massive following, well, Billy has done that. And maybe you're curious about the strategies behind turning unconventional opportunities into big wins. Or maybe you're interested in opportunities in live selling or product promotion in the new year. If any of those sounds familiar, then this episode is going to be just what you need. Today, we're excited to welcome someone who's been there and done it, Billy Thorpe. He's built a six-figure Amazon influencer business in just a year, and he's here to share the bold moves, creative thinking, and lessons learned along the way. So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind, and get ready for this week's episode of Social Media News Live. Billy, how you doing today, my friend?
Jeff, I'm doing good, man. I really appreciate the invite to the show. I'm glad to be here and talk about all these fun things. And actually, while you were showing the Midjourney stuff, my wife just bought a year subscription, so I'm gonna tell her to go check that out.
Yeah.
And then also, I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I wonder why he's not live selling those as postcards for Christmas.
That would be print on demand. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Print on demand postcards, baby. Let's go.
That's
Old
cool.
school.
Everyone listening right now or watching, you're going to quickly realize that Billy has a million awesome ideas. And if you don't know who Billy is, you should. Billy Thorpe is the founder of Deal Billy HQ. He has used his 20 plus years of media creation experience to grow a six-figure Amazon influencer business in the first 12 months of operations. He has generated over 3,100 brand deals and worked with 500 plus e-commerce sellers since 2022. Billy is a multifaceted creator with a passion for helping other content creators realize the opportunities in the creator economy, even when you have a small audience. We absolutely loved, Jeff and myself, getting to spend time with Billy at Creator Camp a couple months ago. So we're so happy for having Billy back here to talk about unboxing. Thanks again for being here, Billy.
Yeah, man. And it was great meeting you guys at Creator Camp. It's one of the highlights of the trip. Eating good pizza, drinking good beers.
That's right.
So good.
Yeah, and speaking of Ecamm, they are the sponsors of the show. You can find out more about them by going to ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save 15% by using code Jeff15 at checkout if you're a first-time user of Ecamm. But go check them out, ecamm.com/Jeff. They are what makes this show possible. Great community. You meet cool people like Billy. Billy did an awesome training on monetization at Creator Camp, and I know they're going to have another Creator Camp next year, and I'll make sure to guys let you know when the wait list is open for that. But ecamm.com/Jeff. So we're going to jump right into Amazon influencer journey, what Billy's journey was in this. So, you know, Billy, you had a podcast and you did a bunch of different stuff. You had a t-shirt business, which was, you know, you kind of got hit hard during COVID, but what motivated you to transition from podcasting to becoming an Amazon influencer, and how did you kind of navigate that when you first got started?
Yeah, man. So it was first of all, I want to just preface by saying, it's like this whole entrepreneur journey is just learning different skill sets and leveraging those project after project. So when I'm like, oh, I built a six-figure business in 12 months, it literally took those 20 years of like flubbing up and doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really one of those get rich quick guys. I mean, I want to be. Trust me, I've looked for that easy button my whole life. But when it came down to it, yeah, I lost the t-shirt printing business in 2020. I wasn't diversified enough with streams of revenue, and I got kicked in the pants a couple of times during that year. And then, my wife was just like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to create content again, because I had been on the backside of the camera, in the producer chair, in the production chair, doing videos for a nonprofit and doing, YouTube channel and TV programs and all this stuff. And I'm like, I want to be on the front side of the lens and just figure out, can I do that? Can I create content? Can I bring value to people, on the internet or whatever? And live streaming at that point had kind of like, I found Ecamm, which I've used some of their products in the past. Their Skype recorder they used to have back in the day. So I used to use that for TV. And then I found Ecamm, and I was like, oh man, I should start like a saltwater fishing show, because I like saltwater fishing. So anyway, kind of during that 2020, started doing the podcast thing, and was partnered with somebody, and we got sponsorship deals, and we did that for, I don't know, 140 episodes, built a 300-person membership, and it was a lot of fun. But I was still splitting everything with my friend, and we were kind of just like, okay, what's the real scalability opportunity here? And also, while doing that, I was on Clubhouse, which is a social audio app, and my friend Monty Weaver and Chris Giles were like, oh dude, I went live on Amazon today and made a bunch of money. And I'm like, you went live on what, where, how? Right. And so they started telling me about it. And then I'm like, well, dude, I'm not an influencer. I don't have a social media profile at all, like that's going to qualify. And so the first thing I did was just got really serious about my Instagram account and creating content for podcasters on how to monetize their podcast, because I didn't realize I was like one of, a 1%er in the podcast world of getting sponsorship deals. I thought everybody made money with the podcast. I had no idea. And people were like, oh, we don't. So I'm like, okay, that's the content. So anyway, so I created this Instagram profile. I got it rocking and rolling. And then I barely got into the influencer program. And I started watching like the guys, the cast ahead, Chris Stone, Jim Fuse, Monty, Chris, Giles, and just really started watching what these guys were doing. I went live a handful of times, and then I was in Puerto Rico at the time. We lived there. It's a whole nother story, but we lived there for a year, and I really couldn't get products. So I could just do whatever was on my desk. And so I did my microphones, my roadcaster, whatever. And I started making like $300 to $600 a month off Amazon, like shoppable videos, because they kind of rolled that out at the time. And I was like, this is too good to be true. But I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And so I did that consistently for almost a year. And then when I got home, I realized, kind of in that time of studying and just watching people and watching some brand deals come together, I'm like, oh, there's an opportunity to build a real business, not just a side hustle, and not just make affiliate money, or maybe money is what I call it. There's a real business here, and it's within this kind of Chinese marketplace. So that's where I really started brainstorming that, and then went on a journey a couple of years ago to test it. It got crazy busy, crazy fast, and then just over time, over the last couple of years, really refined my process and to be able to leverage into that, low ticket, high frequency business in the program. So it's really not the program that makes me a bunch of money. It's really working with brands. I mean, the program makes decent, but Amazon controls it. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Very cool.
I remember the three of us were at the wine and chocolate tasting, which was an excursion at Ecamm Creator Camp. And I remember me and Jeff just standing there, and we were both very quiet as you told your story, which doesn't happen often, because we were just mesmerized by how you built this from the ground up and all the challenges that you got. Like, yeah, it's one thing to get these products and review them and work with brands and those sorts of things, but a genius thing was your approach to then getting rid of the products, right? Once you've reviewed them, and that whole thing, you're like, I didn't even realize that was a challenge. You get all this stuff, you have to review it. Then what do you do with that? So your whole system was just incredible. And I loved hearing all those things, but I know, in getting this started, you probably faced some real challenges in your first year, even though you saw such great success. So Billy, can you talk about just some of the significant challenges as you started with this brand and Amazon influencer journey that you went on?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is like the unknown. It's like there's this new live selling shoppable content that there's not really a roadmap for. And if there is, especially like working with brands, it was, more of like, well, you got to have all these followers and all this stuff. And I'm kind of like Jeff in this sense, when people were giving him a hard time about building on Pinterest, people are giving me a hard time about, you can't go get a sponsorship deal or a brand deal unless you have all these followers and blah, blah, blah. So, my favorite line is like, hold my beer and watch this. And, it gets better results now in my late 30s than my early 20s. So I'm excited about that. But, I just put this stuff to the test and go, well, there's got to be a way to come in here and do this. So I think the whole, like, getting started, overcoming those voices, Clubhouse was hot back then. Everyone was talking about just upload videos, upload more videos, you make all this money. It's scalable. It's this, it's that. But in the back of my mind, I knew, like, this is too good to be true on the platform side. And I don't want to be like a pessimist, but I got to be a realist and go, this is only springboarding because they want people to get in. They want popularity. Right. They want it to grow. They want people to know about it. They want free marketing from really excited influencers to go look at my storefront and all this to get people on the platform. And so I got to just protect myself. And I think we've seen that more this year than ever, right, that it's not a scalable platform. It's not something you can quit your day job and work full time if you just use the thing. So that was kind of my whole thing, is like, how am I really going to do this? The part of getting products, and I was getting a lot of free products at first, and I was doing brand deals for super cheap, and then I got too many, and then I hired somebody, and then that was like, yeah, dude, we're gonna be rich. This is awesome. And then come like December 23rd, there's like no business until like February, March, and I'm like, oh, dude, I screwed up. I'm sorry, man. You're not fired, but you can't, I'm not going to pay you. Like, you can hang. But, so yeah, that first year was kind of crazy because it was like a lot of, and everybody gets this way when you're, especially in business, and you kind of hit this hot thing. You're like, oh man, I just got to scale. And then reality hits of like, oh, is this seasonal? I just rented an office. Like I just committed to 3 years. Like, is this seasonal? Like, I'm gonna have to clean up dog poop out my neighbor's yard, like a half a cent a turd, just like try and pay this rent, So, that first year was emotional. It was pretty wild.
So I used to work with someone, and they, in a previous life, they owned a ice cream store on the beach. And it was him and his two brothers, and they owned it. And he would always say, during the summertime, we'd be out playing golf, big cigars, just laughing. This is the greatest thing ever. And then in the wintertime, when no one was at the beach, no one was buying ice cream, they would just fight and fight and fight and think this is the dumbest idea we've had. So that seasonality is something that is huge, especially with selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the point of being on somebody's other platform, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but one of the things that I thought was so cool about your story, Billy, is that how you embraced unpopular products. So you and I were both in a lot of the groups. In fact, one of the great groups around, the OG, Amani Weaver, sent up some emojis to us from LinkedIn. He's a great guy. He's been on the show a couple years ago, I think. Got to get him back on. But one of the things is you kind of embraced these unpopular products because everybody's griping about, in these groups, overseas products and how they're nickel and dime you and they're not any good and all this stuff. But you kind of went, you know what? I'm going to take these that other people have rejected and kind of use that for my springboard. So can you talk about your thoughts behind that and how it contributed to your success?
Yeah, man. So first of all, shout out to Ecamm, once again, sponsor of this show. I love Ecamm. I was using it for podcasting and live streaming. And so I realized that I could quickly, make product videos sitting at my desk. So I could do this front shot where I could show the product. I could do an overhead cam. I could do whatever I needed to. I could put in B-roll from my phone, and I could switch it all on my Stream Deck. So I was like, okay, I can do these videos fast. That's the one thing that I probably have. I mean, a lot of people have it. They just don't realize this is like the number one tool. So I'm like, okay, I can do videos quick. I can, do a lot of them quickly. So I can do 10 a day. So if I can do 10 a day, and then back then, if I can get $15 an item, and I can do 10 items a day. It's $150 a day. So I was looking at it like overall, not just per deal or per piece or per whatever. And so, I'm like looking at it as a frequency model. And, and I'm thinking about the whole time, I'm thinking about coffee. I'm like, I mean, there's probably plenty of margin in coffee. So maybe this is a bad example, but I'm like, man, the Starbucks has to sell a lot of cups of coffee to really make this thing churn. And you look at them, dude, they get a freaking 100 employees working in a shift or whatever, depends on the size of the store. And so I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way to get into this market at these low price points where the market currently is. And then I can build a portfolio, and then I can start to charge when my demand goes up. And so that was kind of how I thought about it, was like, okay, my demand's low. No one's calling me to do a video. No one's emailing me. No one's reaching out to me. I'm doing all the outreach. So if I'm doing all the outreach, they got something I want. Now, the tables eventually turned to where now people are reaching out to me every single day. And now the ball's in my court and the negotiation power's on my side, because they're going, oh, you've done, and I said, I sent you guys 3,100 videos. I've actually done 3,600 and something videos. And now it's like, now I have this portfolio that's professional, that's quick, that doesn't look like anything else, that's got good audio, good lighting. It's not my crappy, shaky iPhone footage while I'm, sitting on the toilet trying to show the toilet paper holder. It's like good quality stuff that brands actually want to represent their product. And so now I have the leverage point to go, oh, that $15 is now $50, is now $100. However, I can still produce the $50, the $100, the $250 video the same way I produced the $5, $10, $15 video. So it's just more money in my pocket. And that's only like, one part of that. Was my whole mindset, was like, okay, $10, $15 a video, I can do 10 of these a day. And really what I didn't realize was like, I've done 35 of these in a day, depending on what the deal is. Right. So you can do a ton of videos. And then that was when I realized, the first year when I had 400 products on all these shelves lined up on both sides of my desk, where I'm like, now I have a problem. I got to get rid of all the stuff. Right. Right. But a lot of influencers out there that I personally know are like, yeah, man, I got my storage unit. I'm paying. I got all this stuff in there. I'm like, you're paying for a storage unit, dude? That's cash on the shelf, man. Let me show you how to get rid of that and get rid of it fast and add another stream of revenue into your business. And so I did this, the first couple batches of stuff, I just sold as fast as I could to anybody who would buy it for a few dollars a piece. And then I was like, wait, let me slow down. Let me figure this out. And then, so the one batch I sold for like $500, the next batch was like $4,000. And then I'm selling on Whatnot and selling on Facebook Marketplace and some other places to generate revenue. So it's really like a 3-tier. Well, there's more than that, but my 3 main incomes is the Amazon brand deals. So that's the, whatever, $25 to $250 price point for the video, depending on what they want. The commission from Amazon. Somebody clicks on the video, watches it, I get paid, or watches it, hits buy now, or the resell. So that's like the trifecta approach. And now there's other stuff like that I do a little bit of, like offsite, where I drive traffic to the listing. And then creator connections is something new that Amazon's doing. I've made a little bit of money off of. But yeah, man, I just like, I was like, I can't change that I don't have an audience. Yeah. Or I'm going to spend 10 years building an audience so I can go charge $20,000 for a video. Or I'm just going to figure out how do I do these videos as fast as freaking possible. Right. And then resell them and just create a whole different type of business that no one else is really talking about. So that's the approach.
I want to, real quick, Connor, follow up on one of the things that Billy said. So you said you do these brand deal type of videos where they pay you to do this. They give you the free product and they also pay you. So, and you said it was from 25 to 200. How do you? I know a lot of people were like, okay, how do you decide what price to charge? Like, what do you get for a $25 video versus a $200 video?
Well, you get the same thing no matter what. It's not really what the video does. It's how many videos can you give me per month? How many projects are we doing together? Okay. Are you an agency? If you're an agency, I'm going to give you a frequency discount. Now, I don't really price anybody that anymore. Like, I got some agents that have been with me since day one, and they're still $20, but they're still sending me, 10, 15 products a month or whatever. And they're typically higher ticket. So it's like, if it's a higher ticket, I'll charge a lesser fee. If I can flip it, if I can make more money, that kind of stuff. So really for me, it's all about frequency. It's like, oh, you're a seller with one product. Like, well, it's not, it's here. There's a one-time deal. So, you can just go ahead and pay me the premium price. Oh, are you gonna send me 50 products? Okay, we can work it out for you. So that's kind of how I've set it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Your system is incredible and just so well thought out, and it makes perfect sense once you kind of dive into it. And I do want to talk about in a sec managing relationships and continuing to get those brand deals, because your system works when it keeps going, right? But I want to bring up this question from Chris Stone first. He says, we turned down so many products from brands that weren't, quote, on brand for deal casters. So Billy, were there any products you drew the line on and said, no, this just isn't for me?
If it didn't work,
yeah,
because it doesn't make sense. Now that's really the only thing. I mean, there's probably stuff that like it's really complicated. Okay, so I learned this early on. This is a problem my first year. Somebody's like, we want to send you this dresser, and I'm like, yeah, send me the dresser. This is so cool. It was like 400 pieces. I mean, this thing, it was good. It was a great dresser. It had to be. There were so many pieces that you had to put together, but it wasted so much of my time. And I had to pay my neighbors to finish it for me. And then, all this stuff. So I didn't make any money off of that deal. And so I really kind of, draw the line when it comes to how can I produce it? Is it going to be quick? Is it going to be fast? I don't need 400 ceiling fans. I have nowhere to install a ceiling fan. I'm never taking it. There's no, any electrical, there's, stuff that's hard to get approved by Amazon, like medical stuff and all this. I don't touch any of that. Supplements, I say no. And I turn down probably 100 products a month because it's not in the category. So that's how I do it. So, because my brand on Amazon is to create videos, is to be an Amazon influencer. I'm not trying to create, and I think it can be in every single category. Like, I think if there's an influencer that's like, I'm the electronics guy, then you are just niching down way too far on Amazon. Like, I think it's the opposite of YouTube. It's the opposite of podcasting. And that's where a lot of YouTubers get on here and get frustrated because they're like, well, I'm the guy who's going to talk about electronics. And I'm like, you need to be the guy who's talking about toothpicks and electronics. Like, right. Toothpicks are cool, man. And you just want people to click on your video and watch it and buy. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to help them make a purchasing decision. And so, I mean, in my case, I was just like, I'll do anything, dude. I did fingernail clippers. I just did a video the other day about an ingrown toenail like thing.
You know what my biggest seller that constantly makes me money on Amazon is those fruit fly traps. Those Apple that are like, I don't know, like $2 or something. But you start stacking that up every day for months and months and months. It's my biggest seller. I mean, you gotta remember what's popular and versus what's those big ticket items, and you have to balance it. And some things surprise you. Like, I never would have guessed this would have done it. I was probably, it's like, well, I'm gonna make this video and I'll just throw it up. But it's really funny how that works.
Yeah. But it's also something that everyone needs. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's something everyone needs. Everyone probably wants to sell computers on Amazon, right? Because it's a higher ticket or whatever. But you're buying one computer every few years. Fruit fly traps. I mean, if you live in a cesspool, like I would assume.
Yeah,
you probably
exactly. They're just constant. You don't see them.
That's funny. Yeah, and I think and that's another strategy too. Like, just what I do was just because I don't want to rely on the platform to make money off of. Because I realize, and we all know this now, if you're in the program, Amazon is their own business and they can do what they want, when they want, how they want it. And I respect them for it. And I appreciate the opportunity to play on their playground. And I just realize sometimes I got to bring my own toys, and sometimes I got to figure out how to entertain myself in their world, because they'll change the game. And that's totally cool. Like, they'll move videos, they'll take videos away. They'll, switch them out in the carousel, like stuff that was producing early on. Like, this microphone for me was producing really, really well. It was one of the first videos I uploaded. I haven't made money off this microphone in a year. And
Yeah.
so, for me to be irritated at Amazon to go, well, you're not showing my microphone video. It's like, that's really stupid. Like, move on, create more videos, and stop crying about what Amazon's doing and figure out what you can do. And so, there's a lot of different strategies to make money. And it depends on what, I wanted to build a business. If I wanted to build a side hustle, dude, I wouldn't work with a brand at all. I would just go through everyone's house I've ever met in my entire life. I'd pay them $50 and go, give me an hour in your house alone. And I would just rip through 30-second vertical videos and just forget it. You think I have 3,600 videos right now? I'd have 20,000 videos in a year. Like, I would just rip. And who knows what I would make. But if I was going to a 9-to-5 job where it's like, you don't have to, it's like, this is just vacation money, dude, I would. And people want to complain about the 30-second video they uploaded 2 years ago. It's not making money. Like, get over yourself and go make another video of something else, or remake the same stupid video. Like, who cares?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Walmart doesn't sell one product.
No.
And so you can't think you're going to live off of 200 videos and I get it. It's a lot of work, but figure out how to do it easier so it's not a lot of work. And so that's how I've created 1,270 videos this year, is by building a system.
And our thing with Ecamm, I think you said, like, you don't consider yourself a product reviewer. You're a product demo kind of guy. You more just demo the product. You don't really say, hey, this is the best, Stream Deck ever, and kind of do it that way. You do it as a way like, hey, Here it is. This is what it looks like out of the box. Here's the buttons. Here's the cords. There you go. Is that kind of what you do?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think people overthink this a lot, and they try to be salesy. And it's like, that's just, nobody cares. For me, my whole style is what comes in the box, how does it work, and what do I think about it? I don't know unless I really think it's great. Now, I do think the Stream Deck is wonderful. It's great. It's awesome. It's changed my business, changed my life, and brings up every website I use with one push of a button. I can totally recommend it. And but for the TikTok ring that I got that you put on your finger and scroll through TikTok, I just got this thing. Like, I'm not going to say this is the world's greatest TikTok scrolling ring. I'm going to show how it works. And I'm going to say, was this easy? Was it hard? And really just give like the highlights of the product, and not get down into like, oh, I'm desperate for you to buy this because I want to make 30 cents. Like, I realize, it's not that valuable. It's not that serious. And it's crazy, Jeff. Like, I saw in a group this morning where people are like, hey, Amazon did this incentive program. I did 40 videos.
Oh, we lost Billy.
I know what he's going to say, though. You do that incentive program and nothing comes from it,
Oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, these people were like going hard in the paint, saying they're like going to reach out to the CFO of Amazon and complain and do all this. And I'm like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, go figure out how to build a business. It's pretty wild.
What the reason that your system works is because you've been able to build these relationships with brands, and that's been your focus, right? Amazon is the destination. It's not the entire thing. It's just where you kind of house these videos, and your relationships with these brands and your partnerships with them has been really, I think, the most successful part of your business. So what are some, top tips for just finding these relationships and making them work, and also managing them? I mean, you said you've got 3,600 videos, over 500 brand deals. How do you manage those relationships? How do you manage the payments? All that stuff. What are your tips for just building these relationships?
Yeah, payments is a big headache. I will say that, because most of these companies are based in China. Most of it comes through through PayPal. So I have a little bit of a system worked out there, which is not like invoices and cut and dry. It's a little bit of a pain point. But I think when it comes to the relationships, it's just doing what you say you're going to do, and showing up and doing the work, and being quick and consistent and quality. It's like, do the best you can. Now, you don't have to do a Broadway, like a Hollywood production, but it's just like, show up, do what you say you're going to do, get it in a timely fashion. And here's the hottest tip I got, is the quicker you get videos done, the more opportunities you're going to get, because you're creating, oh, you got that done? Well, I got this. Because these guys are very much just like if they're especially if they're an agency, they're reaching out to maybe 100 influencers or 50 or 25 or whatever, and early bird gets the worm. Like there's a reason why I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. It's not because I like waking up at 4 a.m. every day. It's because I like putting money in the bank. And
Yeah.
so I'm getting to it before you are. And that's the reason why, is because I'm showing up, I'm responding, I'm in the chats, I'm on my email, and I'm there and I'm getting these deals and I'm making sure my pipeline is completely smashed full and that products are coming in year round or as close to year round as possible. And so I think that's, with anybody, people, and speaking of social and social media and all that, people do business with people. And I don't care what country you're from, I don't care what language you speak, there's a way to communicate and respect people and navigate those relationships and be willing and open to learn about people's businesses and what are their needs and what do they desire and how can you serve them in this space. And so I do way more than just like, yep, cool, send me the product, here's your invoice. Like I ask questions. I talk to, like, hey, I'm creating this one particular type of content. Is there another type of content that your customers or your clients want, or this brand wants, or that you want? Like, do you want short form content for social media? I could probably create a video for you, for that. Is there's like other types of, videos I can create with this same product, not just the Amazon influencer videos. And this is where in 2025, I'm kind of moving more into, as well as more of this UGC type of content. I'm doing a lot of business over on Fiverr right now, surprisingly doing a lot of business on Fiverr. And I'm just realizing, oh, I'm not monetizing the Amazon influencer program anymore. And that's never really been my main focus, but now I'm monetizing my skill set as a content creator. And that can look a lot of different ways. And I think there's a huge opportunity for us moving into 2025, especially in the shoppable space, man. It's just going to be insane.
Yeah, it's overseas. It's huge over there. It's moving here. People are starting to embrace it. And I do want to talk about that in a little bit in the next section, some of the other things that you do. But Jim, the amazing person over at Dealcasters, one of the guys over there, says, where are you building your brand off of Amazon? Which I thought was a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's probably one I probably should work on, to be honest with you. I do have, I have my website. So yeah, billythorpe.live. I am building a community. It's a membership, community over there. And, really I'm working on an idea for YouTube as far as just teaching other people. So I've never been one to really just be like, oh, let me just jump right in and teach. I'm not going to say the name of the podcast, but there's a really well-known podcast, and there's a person on there who's in the Amazon influencer space, and they were talking about their coaching and teaching program and all this. I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds really good. I go look at their Amazon account. I swear to God, they have like 200 videos. And I'm like, you are not doing what you say you're doing. I don't care who you are. I don't give a shit if you've done every large product on planet Earth and you're selling you're not doing the numbers you say. And so people have been asking me for so much help. And that's why I even started the group that I've been working on, is because my inbox is just full. Like, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. And then I heard our friend Liz Wilcox on a on a side hustle show, talking about her low ticket, membership group. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I should just do that. And so anyway, so that's a whole new thing. And so I'm probably just now into, okay, I've tried this for 24 months, 28 months, whatever I've been into it. I've helped, 24 people kind of get similar results, or, scaled results, but the same exact process. Mm-hmm. So I got a little bit of social proof, a little bit of, numbers in the bank. And, I feel like I can come to somebody and they can go, hey, pay me or I'll pay you, you help me. And I go, okay, I can sleep at night. Yeah. Versus, oh, I made 12 videos. I made $100. Now let me go do my $12,000 coaching course. Makes me want to vomit, but whatever.
There's a lot of people, gurus like that. So yeah, I love your attitude. And one of the cool things, and we've talked about it a little bit, is about your kind of your innovative selling strategies, because you do, I would think even now, if you start and putting up videos on Amazon, you're going to get people coming out of the woodwork wanting to give you free stuff. and some of it's cool. And I remember when I first started, I'm like, this is awesome. All this cool stuff, gadgets, which I love. And then it starts coming and coming and coming. And you've got all this stuff that, I've given stuff away to my church and all the, and it still keeps coming. So you've kind of done some cool stuff. And I actually watched your show yesterday on Whatnot, which is a platform I hadn't even really jumped into. So talk about like how you've integrated platforms like Whatnot into your sales strategy, what advantages they have versus like eBay and selling products that you get from brands. Are brands okay with that? Like kind of break it down, because it's a whole other side that people don't think of. They just, like you said, get a storage building and stuff it full until they have to buy another one. So talk about that.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I ran into was like, man, I need to sell all this product. And like I had mentioned earlier, I sold it to a couple of resellers. And that stuff works out good if you can find somebody who wants to write you a fat check. And this is kind of the same in the video world. It's like you can go out and sell a $20,000 video, but you're going to have to work a lot of hours to go find that person to write you a $20,000 check to do a $20,000 video. And then you're going to have to produce a $20,000 video. And so, kind of the same with the reselling thing. It's like, okay, I can try to go sell this for full price or 10% off for retail and, get as much value as I can out of this free product. Or I can just go find a place where I can sell it fast. I get it fast, I sell it fast, and we just figure that out. And so I was actually on Clubhouse again. Clubhouse has really given me a lot of business ideas. And there's a couple people on there, and they're like, I was struggling. I was like, man, I just got all this product. I don't know what to do. I'm ADHD. It's cluttering me. I'm like, I'm going to freak out. And they're like, you should sell on Whatnot. And they're like, it's a really good place to sell. And so I assumed that they sold on Whatnot. I'm like, oh, good. Okay, you guys sell on Whatnot? I'll sell on Whatnot. And they're like, yeah, go do it. Go knock it out. So I get on there. I sell, I don't even know, probably 50 products my first show. I'm talking, it's an auction site. So it's like eBay meets Twitch. They had a baby. It's Whatnot. You're live selling. People are bidding on stuff. And, it's just moving so fast. And so I'm like, oh, I'm loving this, man. People are buying crap, whatever. And so I just, I sell it. Then I go back on Clubhouse and go, oh yeah, I just did a show. It's, 50 pieces, whatever. And they go, oh, cool. So it works. I'm like, well, yeah. What do you mean it works? Like you sell on there, right? And they're like, no, we don't sell on there. We just knew you would go do it and come back and tell us what's up. I'm like, all right, I see. So yeah, man. So I've moved to over 1,300 products on that platform. And this is selling your stuff. So, I get the free products. The brands, they don't care. They probably like the brand awareness, to be honest. They're probably like, oh, cool. You're showing our product somewhere else and we're not paying you. So thanks for the free promotion. So I'm selling it on there. Now, the thing about Whatnot eBay is going to be, eBay is like YouTube. Whatnot is like Amazon. So eBay, I feel like, is high value, high ticket. It takes a little while to curate. It's kind of the long game. You might put a product on there. It might sell in 2 hours. It might sell in 2 years. Like, you never really know. Like, if you've ever sold on eBay, it's not very fast in my experience. But Whatnot is kind of like that Amazon game where it's like, it's a frequency model. You don't get as high value, but you move stuff pretty fast. And if you have a quick intake, then you can have a quick exit as well. And that's what I love about it, because I can do 50 product videos a week and sell 50 products a week. And just to put it into perspective, I sold 171 products over the last 3 shows over these past 2 weeks and put $2,000 in profit in my pocket from selling free goods that I got for zero cost of goods. Now, if you're like buying stuff, you got to really find some good deals. But if you're an Amazon influencer with free stuff sitting around your house, taking up space, figure out what your mortgage is, figure out what your office payment is or whatever,
right,
and figure out what the square footage is that shelf is taking up, and do the math. And that's what's costing you every single month. It's not giving you anything. It's costing you money. And then that'll motivate you to go sell that stuff. So yeah, I think last year I did over $20,000 just in reselling and what I would call liquidated prices of just selling product.
So on that model, first of all, what ratio of your products do you put on Whatnot versus eBay, and how, is there a reasoning that you kind of use to decide where I'm gonna put it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do eBay much.
Okay.
If it's like a really high ticket item and I'm like, I just can't feel good about sleeping at night if it's gonna go. But mostly if it's a high ticket, like I get a $3,000, which is probably the highest ticket item I've gotten from an Amazon seller. It's like a $3,000 solar power
Right.
unit with all this. That stayed with me. I'm not giving that up. you know, so
Right.
I'm not selling that. Like, are
Right.
we kidding?
Yeah.
I get electric scooters and stuff. I got 8 electric scooters in my garage right now, or 4, so I don't know how many, but some of that stuff stays. But yeah, I mean, so eBay's okay. Facebook Marketplace is an absolute dumpster fire where I live. It's a lot of I'll be
Yes.
there in an hour. It's 2 hours later. Oh, you showed up. Yeah, but I forgot my money. Can you follow me to the gas station and get cash or whatever? So I kind of gave up on it. So it's more for me, it's more of a convenience thing, and Whatnot is just very convenient and it's very quick. I can go live for an hour, sell 50 products, take a couple hours to ship it out, and build a community over there as well. So I've gotten 2,700, 2,800 followers on that platform, and these are people who are looking to shop, they're looking to buy, they're looking for a deal. And so yeah, and I did the math, and on Whatnot I averaged probably $10 to $11 per product in profit. And then, which isn't that much, but when I was selling it to a reseller, I think it was probably about $4 to $5 more than that. But then I got to get that reseller to write me one big check. And sometimes he might take 2 or 3 months to do that. And then I'm over here like, well, I could have already sold this stuff, put money in the bank, paid bills, whatever, went on
Mhm.
vacation and not have the stress of stuff piling in. So
Very
that's kind of my
interesting.
mentality. My mentality is just like, how quick can it come and how quick can it go? And it's like there's a lot of piggy banks out there with a lot of coins that have a lot of money in them. And people sometimes will snub their nose at a penny. I'm like, if there's enough of them, dude, you can retire.
Yeah.
you know? So,
That's
Well,
right.
but I think the biggest thing that you pointed out, Billy, is the fact that people are on Whatnot to buy, right? You don't have to convince them to. They open that app, they logged into that, they're streaming it because they want to buy. It's not like you're late night scrolling through cable and QVC pops up and you're like, that's a nice turkey fryer right there. You weren't in the market, but you just stumbled upon it. No, when Whatnot, you are intentionally going there, and there's a strong likelihood that you're going there because you want to buy something. And I think that kind of plays into you just always kind of being on the cusp of what's next, where can I evolve, what's the new trends that I can do with live selling. So, and I always see you testing out a new setup. You do that all the time, whether you're live streaming or recording or stuff like that. So, Billy, how do you like either set aside time or just really make sure you're always staying up to date with the market trends and what's coming up in live selling, live buying, all that stuff?
man, I wish I could say I'm like a student of it. I'm not really, there. I think I'm in it so much, like especially in so live selling, probably more in the secondary market, just because I'm on Whatnot a lot. I'm watching people, I'm seeing what's going. Um, y- and then on the Amazon stuff, on the TikTok stuff, I'm keeping my finger on it, but I'm not really. Once again, I'm trying to figure out how do I, as a content creator, continue to build my skill set, continue to build that muscle of going live, communicating well on camera, and just crafting this skill. Because I believe moving forward that people who are good on camera, people can show up, they can sell. There's going to be a ton of opportunities for live selling and for brands. And I was actually sharing a little bit of this with you guys before the show, but I went and bought 225 boxes yesterday, shipping boxes, from a guy off of Facebook. And so we were talking, and he was asking me what I do and what I needed the boxes for. And then I was like, well, you got shipping boxes, what do you do, what are you shipping? And he was shipping this seafood chowder. And it was like he was testing all kinds of different size boxes or whatever. And so he told me, because here's the thing, when you get into this game and you really start getting inquisitive about brands and people's business, there's a lot of money in people who develop products. Like they have to have a lot of money to develop products. There's a lot of money there. I won't mention any names, but I met a couple brands at Ecamm, and they were telling me numbers that they pay for content, and my jaw just hit the floor. And I was like, bro, pay me that one time. I'll get you 1,000 videos, and I'll still not work for the rest of the year from this one deal that you paid this one creator for 180 views on YouTube. And so I think if you stay on the cusp of this thing and really just continue to develop your skill set, there's going to be times with this clam chowder that you're probably going to see me go live and try to sell this guy's product, and not on one of the major platforms, because there's now software that's coming out that and I'm going to hopefully work with a company in January where they've developed a live streaming software where I can go live very similar to this on multiple platforms, but the shoppable buy now button goes to whatever brand I'm connected to via API. So I can be here selling this water bottle and they can be shipping it from, or, wherever, like California. And it will just be going right to their website, not through a marketplace. And it will just be processing orders. I make commission. I negotiate an upfront deal. I'm now the on-screen talent. They just send me a box of products. That's where we're headed. And so I don't really look at what Amazon's doing or what TikTok is doing. I'm thinking, what am I doing? How am I going to position myself to be the host of the QVC show when these big brands in the United States have giant budgets and go, hey, we need to find 15 creators. Who are we going to call? They're going to see my face on there 40 million times is my hope.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you're like, you're using everything that's what I love about this is as a tool. It's a tool to build your business. It's not, you're not building on rented land like we always talk about, but actually using each of these platforms as a tool to make money, bring back to you, not so much spending time, just feeding the beast. One of the questions we have.
Go ahead. Sorry. Nope. Well, I was going to say, I bet there's going to be a time where Ecamm, puts it in where it's like, this will integrate to our own stores and do all that. I mean, I'm sure they're on it. Yeah. Those guys are wicked. I'm sure they're on it.
They are very smart.
Live selling is the next thing, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild.
It's already huge in, like you said, China and some of the places overseas. It's just been slower to adopt. TikTok has helped a lot with that. And the new Amazon haul that they're doing. So I'm thinking, it's just a matter of time, especially I think with the rise of AI, seeing live shoppers that are real, it's going to be a big deal for people. We've talked about that on the show a little bit before. Jim has another great question. We're big about repurposing here. And one of the things I like to do is, even if I don't publish it for the public, is I usually put all of my Amazon videos on YouTube. And he goes, you're not sharing your Amazon videos off of Amazon. Are you repurposing those videos that you do for those product videos like on YouTube as well, Billy? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, call me greedy, but it's an upcharge.
There you go. That's awesome.
I will, but it's an upcharge. It's on my pricing guide. At first I was like, maybe I should, and I probably still should. I mean, I got 3,600 pieces of content sitting on a Dropbox. It's like, or sitting on a hard drive, and I'm like, I should. But for me, it's just a lot of bandwidth, and it's if I'm going to create content and upload to YouTube, I want to have fun doing it. I just don't want to be uploading the same video over, whatever. But yeah, I probably need to do that. Probably should do that. Probably missing out on, at least a couple $100 a year. Yeah. With my size audience. That's the thing. I get a small audience.
So I have a throwaway channel that I have built totally separate for everything. It's just for my Amazon reviews. And I put them there mainly, and this is what Jim and Chris had taught me, because it helps with protecting my content, because so many people strip your content, and even if you do it as a unpublished video, I think it still will flag you if somebody steals your content. That's why I mainly do it, but it's also brought in business, like you said, a couple $100 a year on this throwaway channel, and people subscribe to it. I'm like, okay, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And I do get a lot of views on my, just like, here's this smartwatch versus I'm like, here's how you make $1 million. But nobody cares about that. It's like, here's a stupid watch. And like, oh, look at that watch.
Yeah. So, real quick, I wanted to. Once again, this has been amazing, and we we mentioned them a couple times to our friends over at Ecamm. You can find out more about them. Ecamm.com/Jeff. Save 15% on your first purchase over there. But I want to talk about your mastermind. You have a mastermind called the Deal Makers Mastermind. So let's talk about, what that is. Why did you decide to start a mastermind, and what are your goals for it and for the members who join?
Yeah, so I really decided to start a mastermind or a group of like this, really because people kept asking me for help, and so I was getting all these messages through Facebook and Instagram and all these different channels, and I'm like, man, I want to help you. I do. I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do this. I'm a solopreneur. I'm working part time. We're homeschooling our son. Like, there's a lot of variables that are taking place, and so I can't really dedicate time to just answering people's questions. However, as we all know, if you want to have a private group somewhere, there's a cost associated with that. And so, to build out a system for that, to manage it, to upload videos, to all that, there's cost to everything. So I was like, well, I'll do a lower ticket. Well, in Liz Wilcox, I listened to that. Once again, I listened to this episode with her talking about her $9 email marketing group and having like 4,000 people in it or something crazy. And I was like, oh, that's that's a pretty good idea. And so I did. I launched one. I launched it at like $7 a month, something super cheap, just to cover my costs. Brought some people into there, and I really didn't know what I was getting into because I'm like, I'm just a different type of person. Like, I just think differently. If somebody tells me there's one way to do it, or I should or shouldn't do something, I'm probably just going to go, well, let me just try anyway. And so I wasn't really sure, like, can my system work for anyone and for the average Joe? And so kind of at that same time, I had a friend of mine from high school. She was an Amazon seller, and she was looking into the influencer program, and she couldn't get in. And then, I was like, hey, let's just jump on a call. Let's look at your whole ecosystem as a content creator and just figure out how to get you in. So anyway, we did that. We leveraged some Instagram channels that she had. She got into the program, and then she got into the group, and I just told her, I'm like, here's what you do and go see if you can make it work. Dude, she closed 50 deals her first month. And her and several other people in the group were like, dude, you got to charge more for this group. Like, this is silly. Like, we're doing the work, we're making money, and somebody can easily pay for a whole month with like a deal, or half a deal or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I decided to up it to like $27 a month or something. But really, it's, for me, especially during the holiday season, we meet up once a week, we chat, we kind of catch up. What's everybody working on? There's a lot of negotiation that takes place with these, with these deals. There's a lot of different deal structures that you can do. Some of them, make a lot of sense, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. Or, and so I'm helping people do that. I'm helping people go, here's what I would do, or here's what I would say, or here's how I would, handle this opportunity. Because there's a lot of ways you can do it. There's not one way to skin a cat. There's not one way to make money on this program. But what the feedback I've been getting is like, dude, we just like how your brain works, and we just want to be around you because you're always trying new stuff. You're always innovating. You're always trying to figure out, what's the next thing or whatever. And really, I wish I could think of that about myself, but really I'm just like, man, I'm just a small business guy. I'm just super scrappy. Right. And I'm trying not to go to the bank and go, hey, can I get a big loan so I can live for the next 5 years while I launch this business? Like, I'm trying to bootstrap everything. So, I think that's what we do in that group. And we got people with like 1 million followers on YouTube, and they're like, hey man, can you help us, figure out how to close this $20,000 brand deal? I'm like, yeah, here's the conversation I'd have. Here's how I queue it up. Here's how I would do all that. Because I've never closed a $20,000 brand deal, but the negotiation process for a $20 deal and a $20,000 deal is basically the same thing. It's a little bit different. Actually, probably the 20,000 is easier because those people think different with that much money.
Yeah. Right.
The $20 person will beat you up. The $20,000 person is like, yeah, okay, don't bother me. I'm busy.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know it's still in its infancy, Billy, but do you have any thoughts or ideas about how to kind of grow the group or enhance its value? I know people are just showing up because you're the real deal. They just like picking your brain and understanding your processes. But a few years from now, where do you kind of see the mastermind going?
I struggle with this because it's one of those things where I'm like, I kind of want to just build a 3-month system and like you come in and you get out, because I don't feel like I'm the person. I'm not a coach. Okay. And this is, I tried to think that I was a coach, but I'm not a coach. I'm the guy who just says, hey, you know what? Either shit or get off the pot. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not, here's the thing. Here's what worked for me. You go try it. If it doesn't work for you, go do something else. And that's really the short message of it, because, I think you have to operate at a certain level to do the business model that I do, because it's kind, I mean, it's systematic, but it's also kind of chaotic in the same sense. And my personality, it just flourishes in this. It's almost like like, I don't know, my wife even said it. She's like, it's just cool. Like, you found the thing that is ever changing. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of problems to solve, and you get a bunch of cool gadgets, and you get to do your live stream stuff. You get to do your, videos and nerd out, but then you're, also helping people, and you're helping people on both sides, the brand side, helping other influencers. So yeah, man, I think if I had my perfect world or a business manager, it would probably be just like, hey, let's build a really solid, just badass 3-month, 90 days intensive. You come through it and you're gone. Or you can pay, small fee and hang out and ask questions. But I don't
That's
know
cool.
that I'm at this point like the community builder coach guy sitting on the Ferrari with the tie. I'm not that guy. The rented Ferrari.
That's right. Or he even just found it in a parking lot.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of our time. This has been fascinating, Billy, and it's such fun to sit and talk with you like we did at Creator Camp, but even coming on here. So, Connor, is there something that I did not ask Billy that I needed to ask before we let him go? Is there something like on your mind that you have to know? Because Connor's is an influencer as well.
He's putting me on the hot seat. I don't think so. I mean, I think just
Let's go.
I'll say this much. If you're interested in, wanting to do more of this, what I've done is go to Billy's Amazon page and just like check out a couple of videos. He's the master at it. It makes sense. And then just get a process going. I don't have anything other than I'm sure I could come up with other things, and we could talk for 3 more hours because I'm just always fascinated by
So if you want to find his Amazon plays, make sure you guys go to billythorpe.live, and that's BILLYTHORPE.live. That link is at the bottom of this page that you can go check and see his actual storefront on Amazon. Billy, is there anything else that you want to promote, talk about, let people know that you're working on right now before we wrap up everything?
Man, I think that is it. A couple things I would leave people with, and I love that you said this, is like, success leaves clues. I went and watched a bunch of people's channels. Dan Courier was one of these guys where he was one of the first people doing shoppables. And I was like, well, if he's successful, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to go watch everything he does. And so I watched his videos. And then just consistent application of elementary things is what's going to win. I think we all look at this whole thing at the 30,000 foot and go, oh man, I want to do that. But it's like, what's the little thing I can do right now? Some people are going to go apply for the Amazon program. They're not going to get in. So that's not your leverage. So what is your leverage? Is it your talent? Is it your skill? Is it getting on Fiverr and doing UGC type of content, which will probably make more money, to be honest with you? But it's like, what is the thing that you can do today to start taking action? Or if you want to sell on Whatnot, don't go out and look for big lots of stuff to sell. Go in your garage. Pull 20 items off of your garage. Go apply to be a seller. Become a seller. Sell that 20 craps that you haven't used in 2 years and see what you do. And I've done that before and sold $1,000 of stuff in my garage I just haven't been using. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So a lot of ways to get started, a lot of ways to skin a cat, and don't listen to the gurus. Just go try something.
That's awesome. Awesome advice. This has been amazing. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for Jim and Dustin and everybody who watched this. Thanks for Billy for spending the time with us today. Connor Brown, where can people find out more about the unsinkable Connor Brown?
You can head to vacationkingdoms.com or follow me on social media at Vacation Kingdoms across the interwebs. Oh man, I got to go film like 100 videos now. I'm amped.
No kidding. Oh, and by the way, I know it's cold for a lot of you. It's actually cold in Texas right now. This is the perfect time to go plan a nice Caribbean vacation with Connor Brown at vacationkingdoms.com. So go over there. If you're cold, think of all the warm beaches that you could save on right now by going to vacationkingdoms.com and see Connor Brown. I would love for you guys to check out my guide that I put up for you earlier in the show. You can go to jeffc.com/holiday-codes. Get a free Midjourney guide on how to create some awesome holiday images for Midjourney in Midjourney. jeffc.com/holiday codes. And with that, thank you so much for our sponsors, eCam.com/Jeff. You can save some money going there by using the code Jeff15. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody. Appreciate you.